The structure of language often involves phonology, which we shorten to phonemes, as we said before. English has 40 of those, the smallest unit of sound that make a difference in a given language. Your text also speaks of consonants, the place and the manner of articulation, the voicing. So, for instance, I'm at the top of page 237 in the print book. Consonants differ in their manner of articulation, the mechanics of how the airflow is obstructed. The M sound, for example, is made by closing the mouth while opening the nasal cavity. The F sound is made by closing the mouth while opening, the F sound is made by through an obstruction of the airflow that produces a hissing sound. So, frank, etc. Where M is closing the mouth and opening the nasal cavity. It's a martini. And you can see if you voice these out, that sure is the manner of articulation. Martini, breathing through the nose. Frank, obstructing airflow. So there's that. There's also a handful. So I've got manner of articulation and then place, basically where the block of the airflow occurs. So there's B for the B sound and then P for the P sound, etc. So it's essentially where in your physical mouth that we break these things down. The F involves teeth, where the B and the P merely involve lips, for what it's worth. Place of articulation is your physical person, and manner of articulation is how the airflow is blocked. Now, voicing, let's tap that. If I've got that, thanks for, here it is. A third distinction between groups of consonants is known as voicing. Compare the S in sa with the Z in za. The S does not require the vocal cords to be vibrated as the Z does, and that's the distinction. That's a very subtle distinction, but that's among the things that our frontal lobe affords, to have that kind of fine control over your tongue to make those really fine voicings. Now, there are some phonological rules. For instance, in English, I can't have a T that comes after an M or an M that precedes the word speech. Those things just don't work. So we have some rules. And some of those rules are captured in that horizontal table below. If the plural of the ending of the word is a Z sound, then we have ways of making plurals. So if the word ends with S or Z or C or J, then we have an ES on the end. So if someone were in a maze and there were plural mazes, that's mazes. If it were a CH sound, that's porches, etc. If the plural of the word is P, T, K, or F, then in that case it's just a plain S. Anything else, it has its own list too there. So basically, does it end in a Z sound or a S sound? Telegraphs is an S sound. Cabbages is a Z sound, depending on the phoneme that actually ends that word. That's kind of a clever idea. Well, it's not a clever idea, it just is what it exists, but documenting it suggests that we have our phonological rules, if you will. So this phonology is one of the things that's unique to English to some degree, although it probably overlaps heavily with German, as English is known as a Germanic language. But then there are other languages that have nothing in common with English that would have their own phonological rules and places of articulation, etc.